Exploring the power of curiosity with today's leaders. Uncloud Your Curiosity with Schellman's Chief Executive Officer, Avani Desai.
Hi, I'm Avani Desai, CEO of Schellman, and today I'm joined by our Chief Marketing Officer, Kallin, who's going to talk about how curiosity and wonder helps with the client experience. Hi, Craig. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited about today because one thing that I've talked about in the other sessions is you have to constantly reinvent yourself, and you can do that through curiosity and wonder. And I don't know if you know this, so when I started at Schellman 10 years ago, I joined as our Chief Marketing Officer with no marketing experience. But what that taught me was I had to go down what I call that curiosity rabbit hole and learn a lot, ask questions, read. And one thing I learned is marketing is not a science. It's actually a mix between science and art, right? Data analysis and so forth. So I'm gonna throw the first question out there for you. Why do you think curiosity and wonder is important in the marketing arena?
So I think from my perspective is you got to remember that you are not your customer. And you got to be really careful about not getting too lost in your own magnificence. So it's really good to have some baselines, some structures, some frameworks that help guide the amount of research that you want to do. But at the end of the day, it's all about the client. It's all about the customer and really understanding that voice of customer.
Yeah.
And the best way to understand that voice of customer is not thinking about, oh, what do we think about the customer? What does the sales team think about the customer? Those things are important, and it's not that you want to ignore those points of view. But the most important thing is understanding what does the customer think and hearing it directly from them. So being able to have client advisory councils, being able to do survey work, getting out in the field, understanding what's really in the hearts and minds of your clients and your customers is really what's going to put you in the best position to create that experience for them that's going to be most resonant.
I love that. So you got to be curious about your customer, right?
Yes.
So can you tell me, there's a lot of things that we can do from a marketing perspective, right? We can do marketing campaigns, we can, use social media and so forth. Do you feel that curiosity runs the entire gamut of marketing, or are there certain areas, and I know we talked about voice of customer, but are there certain areas where you may not know the campaign, but you have to just be curious about it?
I think where that sort of like intersection is if you're staying up to date on current trends and what's going on in the marketplace, what you're seeing in the media, and then getting that gives you some idea of like what people might be thinking about. So if you're curious about that and you start thinking about, so for instance, we were talking about recently how cyber insurance premiums have just been going, off the charts. And that makes you think, well, how are clients dealing with that? How are companies dealing with that? And what are they going to do to resolve that? And even some companies are taking on the risks themselves and deciding to self-insure, which is a pretty big decision. We start thinking about our ransomware preparedness assessments and how that might really help in this occasion.
Sure.
So not just, being shrill hucksters, but really looking for those opportunities to add value and help solve real problems. So it's thinking about our services, but it's more, keeping up to speed with what's going on in the marketplace, and then saying, oh, is this an opportunity for us to step in and really help?
So that's great, and I think that's a great segue to kind of my next question. So the evolution of marketing, probably in your entire career, has been significant, right? And one thing that I spoke with Kent about, who helps run our pen test team, is if we stay stagnant in technology, we become obsolete. Do you feel the same thing with marketing tech? I mean, everyone's talking about MarTech, and is technology a big component in understanding what the client wants?
One of the things that happens, I think, a lot of times is even when you're doing that upfront research and you're getting that voice of customer, and then you're putting things out in the marketplace, you still don't know exactly how the clients are going to react or prospects are going to react. And did you hit the nail on the head, or do you still have things to learn? So I think where technology can help is making sure that you have that closed feedback loop. So you understand, like, how did this perform? We thought, we did our research, we thought this was going to resonate, we took our best swing at it. Did it work? Did it not work? And if it didn't work, then what can we learn from the data?
So it helps you validate.
Exactly,
Okay.
Validate, and then if we didn't get it quite right, where did we go wrong? Is it still a good idea, but the messaging just didn't resonate 100%? Or is it really the idea just was off the mark and didn't resonate? Hopefully you can get ahead of the curve on that with some of your research, but sometimes you just have to put things into market and see how folks respond.
So through your career journey, do you feel like you had to be curious to learn new technology, new marketing campaigns, new techniques? I mean, how do you feel that you've harnessed curiosity and wonder?
So before joining Schellman, I actually worked for a digital agency for a while. And when you're on the agency side of the business, the digital agency side or the ad agency side, your clients tend to look at you, just like our clients look to us as experts. Our clients look to us as experts in marketing or digital marketing. So the minute something hits the marketplace, you're expected to have a point of view on that. Oh, is this something that we should be considering? How are your other clients using this? Should we be doing this? Is this best practices yet? Like you have to be ready to understand, what technologies, new technologies are available, what benefit they offer. Is this something like you might be in a situation where, we want to test this out, but we're not sure we want to go all in yet, or let some of the more of the bleeding edge, companies sort of take this on and then say, oh, we're not gonna be a first adopter, but we might be an early adopter, or we might be a fast follower because we want to see how this technology proves out based on our appetite for risk and our appetite for budget and that sort of thing. So but absolutely, you got to remain curious. You got to understand the different technologies and philosophies even, and how things sort of like ebb and flow, and make sure that you can guide, in our case, our internal marketing team accordingly. Absolutely.
So to wrap it up, I want to know, what are you curious about in the future of marketing?
So I think artificial intelligence, or AI, is something that I'm really excited about, because I feel like it's been something that people have been talking about for a long time. I know there's been different applications for it, but within the sphere of marketing, I think it's been something that hasn't been quite there. And based on my experience, you can train it to look at certain signals, train it to look at certain things, but there's a lot of auditing that needs to take place. You need to make sure that you're getting the results you expect it to get, and then even if you can train it towards a certain task, its ability to take that applied knowledge and then apply it to another task could be a little bit cumbersome. And I think that has just changed like really recently, and now I think there's going to be a lot of insights, and I think it'd be interesting to see how folks react to it. A lot of people, I kind of laugh about it personally. I would much rather see an ad or an experience that's tailored for me, because it knows what my behaviors are, it knows what my likes are. Other people, sort of bristle at that, and they think it's creepy or Big Brother or whatever it might be. I don't have that perspective, but I think if the market responds well to it, and that we have, we understand those nuances and understand the folks who don't like that sort of thing and don't do it for them.
I agree. I mean, I'm a big believer in AI is going to change a lot of what we do and allow us to focus on the most important things, right? Allow us to use our brain power or mind share to make decisions in some of the repeatable tasks, especially when it's data intensive. AI will take it. Thanks, Craig. This was really informative, and I loved how curiosity plays a big role, not only in your career, not only in marketing at Schellman, but what the future is going to be. And then one thing I'm going to take back to the rest of the firm is definitely be curious about your client.
That's great.
Thanks, Craig.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Join us next time as we have Natalie Ings from Lightyear Capital to talk about private equity and how curiosity impacts their investment strategy.